Finally, it's 2021, and I'm so excited because finally we start to have the vaccine, and I hope that everybody is start to wait and believe in the vaccine and will help us to get rid of this pandemic. Anyway, I'm not wearing my physician hat on, I'm putting my amateur photographer hat on. And the whole idea of this video is I'm trying to answer the question, what is the camera that I would like to take with me in my very long waited trip that I'm gonna take in 2021? And I ask myself, what are the features of that camera that were to be carried with me? And I decided that number one, I want it to be so easy to use. Meaning, if I even hand it to my grandfather, it would be easy for him to use it. Just point and shoot and take a picture. And since I said point and shoot, I went to the market and I was looking at what is the latest and greatest in this category. And I found two cameras, the Zeiss ZX1 and the Leica Q2. One cost you $6,000 and the other one is a little bit lower than that at $5,000. So no, I'm not paying that much, but what I can do is try to mimic that with one of the average brand, common brands that everybody uses. So to look at the features here, I have in the Zeiss, we have 37.4 megapixel sensor, and we find in the Leica it's about 47.3 million pixel or megapixel. So it's a very high megapixel sensor, and both of them have a single lens. That one, the Leica is 28 millimeter and the Zeiss is 37, I believe. Well, I said, well, fantastic. I have already the Canon EOS M6 Mark II, which has already 37 mega or 32 megapixel, and I have the 22 millimeter lens f2 that will be equivalent to 35 with a cropped sensor, so that will be the one. That's on the paper, that the logic's thinking, but I took that to the street to test it and be sure that I'm not just misleading myself. And to make this test even better, I compare it to the iPhone. Not any iPhone, this iPhone, the special edition one, because I believe it's a small size one and a lot of people carrying it with them, so that will be a reasonable thing that most people will use when they are having a trip. So I would like to compare from practical standpoint a phone and the camera with the lens that will cost you about $1,000. So let's see what we got and we'll take it from there. So from here, I would like to highlight three main points. Look at the dynamic range and the colors and the sharpening of the details in those trees. You will find that the dynamic range is excellent. You can see some details in the sky, details in the shadows, and the colors really saturated. Plus, I think that there is some over sharpening from the papers on the trees, which is consistent with the fact that this is a small sensor over processed picture from the iPhone. Moving to the next one, here you'll find that the colors are more washed out, when I think this is more real. It's more representative of the real color, but the dynamic range is gone. This is because I shot with an automated intelligent setting. This is what they call it in Canon, but obviously the HDR is not there. And you'll see the same story keep repeating itself again and again. This is this picture, the fourth one, The same thing. Fifth, this picture is beautiful, even in both ways. And again, here you see the iPhone continue to do the same story again and again. Oversaturated colors, not so bad. But let's stop here in this picture. This picture, you'll see that the tree, it's on focus, and because we are close to it and shooting with an f2 multiplied by the crop factor of 1.5, you like shooting with f1 at 3.5. Anyway, you still have a nice bokeh. You can see it, the blurred background, so this is beautiful. And this is by itself is a factor that might be a game changer for you, because even that I know that the smartphones are able to do this trick, but it never been as accurate. Like here, you don't see anything that's missing or deleted. It's just very beautiful picture. Let's keep going to the next one. The same thing. The story, the iPhone keep oversaturating, and I don't feel strong way on this or on the iPhone versus the Canon on just regular landscape shots. But once you get that margin of getting the shot very clear, maybe if I were the one doing the shots with a manual, maybe I will be trying to do some tricks, trying to preserve the HDR, or even turning the HDR mode, of course, on, which should be on, by the way, when we are turning the complete automated plus setting. But the sensor here is failing for the Canon in that regard. You will see in this street shot that the iPhone is not able to get the picture of the building at the end very clearly. But let's stop at this one. Here you can see I took it intentionally to show three things. First, the details of the buildings, the color of the grass, very green, and look at the shadow. You can see all the details. But when you move to the next one, to the Canon, you don't see the same thing. And even if I tried to fix this, that will not be easily doable. So in the last shot, you see that the iPhone was able to isolate the sun. You can see the border of the sun, but you can also see the dark black circular rounded, as if there is something happening in the sky, which is not real. That's why here you can see the shot from the Canon is the sky is blown out. You don't see any details there, but it's a beautiful shot, focusing on what is matter. Bottom line, if you have a high-end phone, you will not go wrong if you just shot with it, and if you don't have space. But if you have that extra space to take a small camera like this one, I personally will highly recommend that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.